का और कार्यपालिका की सत्ता नहीं बल्कि संविधान द्वारा ही बंटी होती है। स्टेट लिस्ट, कंकरेंट लिस्ट, हम किसी सूची में कोई संशोधन नहीं कर रहे हैं साहब। कैसे संघवाद पे चोट कर रहे हैं? हम नहीं कोई चोट कर रहे हैं। दूसरा, बाबा साहब ने कहा था भारतीय संघ राज्यों के बीच किसी समझौते का परिणाम नहीं है। ये बाबा साहब का कोट ही है कि भारतीय संघ राज्यों के बीच किसी समझौते का परिणाम नहीं है। राज्यों को फेडरेशन से अलग होने का अधिकार नहीं है। फेडरेशन एक संघ है और इसका स्वरूप अविनाशी है, कोई नहीं बदल सकता फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर को, ये बाबा साहब ने कहा। अब मैं, ये है ही नहीं विषय इसमें, ये राजनीतिक कारणों से इसका विरोध कर रहे हैं। अब आप देखिए, संसद के अनुच्छेद 327 के तहत लोकसभा और राज्य विधानसभाओं के चुनाव को एक साथ कराने के लिए संविधान में उसकी संशोधन करने का अधिकार है, जब मैंने बताया। अब मैं एक बात, जो ये जो हमने जोड़े हैं आर्टिकल जोड़े हैं, हाँ ठीक है, आर्टिकल जोड़े हैं, उसमें मैं एक बात अध्यक्ष जी कहना चाहता हूं। जब बात जेपीसी की आई गई तो डिटेल चर्चा जेपीसी में होगी,
आप कुछ तो बोलते हैं,
हाँ जेपीसी में होगी, लेकिन आज मैं चूंकि आपने अवसर दिया, मैं हमारे पूर्व राष्ट्रपति रामनाथ कोविंद जी का धन्यवाद करना तो चाहूंगा, और उनके जो एचएलसी में जुड़े हुए सदस्य हैं उनका भी धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा। गृह मंत्री जी भी उसमें थे, कितने डिटेल डिस्कशन हुआ। ये कह रहे अचानक ही आ गया। अध्यक्ष जी, 1983 से चुनाव आयोग ने अपनी वार्षिक रिपोर्ट में लोकसभा और विधानसभाओं के चुनाव एक साथ कराने का विचार किया। 41 साल से पेंडिंग है ये। अलग अलग कमेटियों ने भी किया, स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ने भी किया, फिर एचएलसी गठित हुई, और ये कह रहे दलों से बात नहीं हुई। 19 जून 2019 को संसद भवन में प्रधानमंत्री जी की अध्यक्षता में सर्वदलीय बैठक आयोजित की गई थी, और उसमें सभी लोग थे, और उसमें 19 राजनीतिक दलों ने भाग लिया। 16 राजनीतिक दलों ने चुनाव एक साथ कराने का समर्थन किया, 3 ने विरोध किया। तो इसका मतलब बहुमत हमारे साथ था। फिर अध्यक्ष जी, मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाह रहा हूं, आपने केवड़िया में पीठासीन अधिकारियों की बैठक बुलाई थी, याद है ना आपको? प्रधानमंत्री जी ने केवड़िया गुजरात में 26 नवंबर 2020 को 80वें अखिल भारतीय पीठासीन अधिकारी सम्मेलन के समापन सत्र में भी संबोधन के दौरान एक साथ चुनाव कराने की बात रखी। आपने इसको डिस्कस किया, सारे स्टेट के जो प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर थे वो इससे सहमत थे, और आप भी सहमत थे। और ये स्वीडन में भी, जर्मनी में भी, बेल्जियम में कई जगह चल भी रहा है। मैं अब जेपीसी पे आ रहा हूं, लेकिन उससे पहले एक बात तो कहना चाहूंगा सर। ये 41 साल से मामला पेंडिंग था। हमारा जो नेता है नरेंद्र मोदी जी, उसके बारे में एक बात तो कहना चाहूंगा कि जो 41 साल से मामला पेंडिंग था, किसी ने ध्यान नहीं दिया, और नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने ध्यान दिया। क्या कहा? जो निर्णय लेता है सदा देश हित की खातिर, जग में साहस से करता दूर सदा, जो भी बाता आदि मग का महत्व में ये मार्ग है। ये इलेक्शन का और कार्यपालिका की सत्ता केंद्र और राज्यों के बीच केंद्र द्वारा बनाए गए किसी कानून के द्वारा नहीं बल्कि संविधान द्वारा ही बंटी होती है। क्या? यूनियन लिस्ट, स्टेट लिस्ट, कंकरेंट लिस्ट, हम किसी सूची में कोई संशोधन नहीं कर रहे हैं साहब। कैसे संघवाद पे चोट कर रहे हैं? हम नहीं कोई चोट कर रहे हैं। दूसरा, बाबा साहब ने कहा था भारतीय संघ
The One Nation One Election bill is initially the dream of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He wanted to propose it before the previous election itself, but because of the legal constraints and so many obligations, this was postponed to the next term. In this regard, a committee was formed under the leadership of former President Ramnath Kovind, and Ramnath Kovind's committee has done vigorous preparations and vigorous research on possibilities of whether implementing the One Nation One Election will be possible in India or not. Ramnath Kovind committee has got so many suggestions. Initially, this particular One Nation One Election bill was completely termed as unpractical and impossible by the oppositions. Why? Because in a country like India with 545 MP seats, will be going election at one stance, which is called as the Lok Sabha election, and India is having 29 states. They will be going to elections according to their assembly terms. At present, the states like Andhra Pradesh, Odisha are going elections simultaneously along with the Lok Sabha, whereas the 5 states like Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and Telangana are going just 6 months before the Lok Sabha elections. And on the other hand, we have seen immediately after the Lok Sabha elections, which held in June, later on Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Maharashtra and Jharkhand election, means 4 states elections were happened within the time span of 6 months. So initially, if these 10 states, means 5 states which happened before the Lok Sabha elections and the 4 states elections which happened after the Lok Sabha elections, if they would have gone to the election along with the Lok Sabha elections, then huge amount of money would have saved, because elections is the most expensive process in a country like India, both from the political sources and also from the government sources, because government has also to do lots of research and lots of arrangements, and political parties also fetching so much amount on their campaigns and so many things. And the election, of course, is the fundamental right of every individual in the country, but it includes a very tedious process and also includes the disruption of the daily life. So, why not one nation, one election, where entire country will be going simultaneously to the polls? Along with the Lok Sabha, even the 29 state assembly elections will be happening, and other union territories like Jammu and Kashmir, Pondicherry and Delhi also will be having the elections. So, they will be also going to the polls along with the Lok Sabha elections, and the most crucial part is the local body elections. The survey report says that the local body elections also should be happening along with the Lok Sabha and the state elections. However, experts opined that these particular local body elections should be happening just with a very short gap of couple of days, else it will be leading to a chaotic among the public. So, the committee has framed one particular proposal that Parliament and the state assemblies will be going to the polls simultaneously and the local body elections, of course, simultaneously, but little bit slight delay. This was severely opposed by the opposition, saying that it is impractical, because when the Parliament gets dissolved or any state assembly gets dissolved, then what would be the issue? Initial research report by the committee said that if at all any state government assemblies get dissolved, then obviously there will be election, but not for the next 5 years, that is for the complete term, but only to the term till the next election. This particular point is opposed by all the opposition parties, saying that this is against the federal system, which is the primary right of the Indian Constitution. Federal system means respecting the state governments along with the central government. This is called as the federal system in the common language. And India is primarily in the constitution is explained as union of states, not a single country. In America, you will be having a dual citizenship, means you will be having a citizenship of a country and also a citizenship of the state. But in India, we are having only the single citizenship, which is called as the single citizenship. However, India is called as the union of the states, giving the respect to the state governments. So, when the state assembly of any state gets dissolved, or if the chief minister of that particular state want an early election, this would not be possible. If the chief minister, like what happened in 2018, when TRS party has gone for early elections, that is 6 months before their assembly gets turned off, then that particular decision by the chief minister will not be possible in the one nation one election. And even if the chief minister decides on this particular issue to go for early election, that particular election will be having only for the completion of that particular term, not for the next 5 years. Means ideally, what the situation, if at all KCR like situation, if repeats, that is going for early polls just before 6 months, initially would not be possible. Probably they will be deciding the time that to dissolve the assembly on their own. It requires a timeline, means if at all 2 years prior to the next assembly session or the next Lok Sabha session, if they want to go for the polls, then the election will be happening only for the next 2 years, but not for the 5 years. This particular point is raised by the opposition that it might be sounding as the amount saving, but if the assemblies get dissolved, then it will be more and more expensive.
Then, sir, effect of proposed Article 82A, sub-Article 3 simply establishes that tenure of state legislative assembly simply depending upon the tenure of the House of the People. It is not a doctrine of pressure. Doctrine of pressure is under Article 311 of the Constitution. But a mandate which has been given by the people of the country that state assemblies tenure will be depending upon the doctrine of pressure of this House. How it can be? This is inconsistent. It cannot be accepted. Sir, we must remember this. State government and the state legislative assembly both are inconsistent with each other. Then, sir, effect of proposed Article 82A, sub-Article 3 simply establishes that tenure of state legislative assembly simply depending upon the tenure of the House of the People. It is not a doctrine of pressure. Doctrine of pressure is under Article 311 of the Constitution. But a mandate which has been given by the people of the country that state assemblies tenure will be depending upon the doctrine of pressure of this House. How it can be? This is inconsistent. It cannot be accepted. Sir, we must remember this. State government and the state legislative assembly both are inconsistent with each other. Then, sir, effect of proposed Article 82A, sub-Article 3 simply establishes that
the main opposition party, the Congress, has issued the whip to oppose this particular bill, and along with other parties in the India bloc like DMK and Shiv Sena faction of the UBT also issued similar whips. But the DMK has proposed a new thing on this particular bill. They said that the joint parliament committee should be referring this particular bill, and they requested the speaker to refer this particular bill to the joint parliamentary committee. Out of 545 members, voting has taken place. 369 people has participated in the voting, and for the first time in the new building, the electronic voting is started. The electronic voting has started, out of which 220 said ayes and 120 people has opposed this particular bill. Total 369 people participated in this voting. However, in this particular e-voting, few MPs have opposed this particular e-voting system, and they have asked for the paper voting, or in other words called as the ballot voting. The ballot voting chance is also given to those MPs who has opposed this particular electronic voting. In that way, the cross-checking has also been requested by few of the MPs. So the electronic voting cross-checking was also given. So it has taken a long time, even after the final result has come, that is 220 yes and 140 no's out of 369. So these are the numbers, and finally the speaker has given enough time for the MPs. Those who wanted the paper ballot, they were given the chance for voting through the paper ballot, and those who wanted to cross check their e-votes were also given the chance to cross check their e-votes. And so, this particular bill is tabled by the Law Minister Arjun Meghwal, and later on series of discussions happened. AIMIM MP from Hyderabad, Asaduddin OIC, Congress MP Gogoi from Assam, and Trinamool Congress MPs have completely opposed this particular bill, and even Supriya Sule from NCP has also opposed this bill. Common thing what everybody said is it is against the federal system, and this particular bill is completely anti-constitutional. Why it is anti-constitutional is because one particular reason is for the next 5 years any vote will be valid for the next 5 years, but in this particular system the vote term validity for the next 5 years would not be possible if any adjournment happens or if any dissolution of any assembly or the Lok Sabha happens. And also this particular bill is bifurcated into two parts. First is one nation, one election, and also the other part is describing the changes of how this particular mechanism should be implemented in the union territories, those having assemblies. India has 7 union territories, but out of which 3 states, 3 union territories, Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir are having assemblies. So, they will be undergoing elections, whereas the other union territories will not be having the assemblies. They will be unanimously nominated bodies will be running the union territories like Andaman, Lakshadweep, Dayu Daman or Dadra Nagar Haveli. So, the second part of the bill also describes how the functionaries of the UT assemblies of Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir has to undergo, and on what basis they will be going to the polls if at all their assemblies would be getting dissolved. Dissolution of the UT assemblies is also possible, like what happened in Delhi when Arvind Kejriwal initially has won. The assembly was dissolved, the presidential or the governor or the lieutenant governor rule was implemented for some time, and then the state has gone again to the elections. So, this particular scenario is also the possible, and this particular part is covered in the second part of the bill. So, finally, the voting has taken place, and re-voting or the cross-checking of the voting has also taken place in this particular session.
महोदय, एक अच्छी व्यवस्था शुरू की गई है कि भारत सरकार ने राष्ट्रीय तटीय पुलिस अकादमी, शायद माननीय सदस्य एनएससीपी के विषय में जानना चाह रही है, तो इसकी स्थापना की जो मंजूरी दी गई और उसके कार्य प्रगति पे है। यह मत्स्य अनुसंधान केंद्र ओखा, जिला देवभूमि, द्वारका, गुजरात में एक अस्थायी परिसर में चल रहा है, लेकिन 29 अक्टूबर 2018 से यह कार्यरत है और माननीय गृह मंत्री जी ने 20/5/2023 को देवभूमि, द्वारका, गुजरात में एनएससीपी के अस्थायी परिसर की आधारशिला रखी है और दिनांक 27/7/2022 को डीआईबी द्वारा 441 करोड़ रुपए के कुल परिव्यय का प्रावधान किया गया है। वर्तमान में उस परिसर का निर्माण कार्य चल रहा है, जैसे मिट्टी भरना, सीमा की दीवार, 120 पुरुषों के लिए बैरक और उसमें टाइप 5 क्वार्टर, टाइप 4, टाइप 3, टाइप 2 हेलीपैड का कार्य पूरा हो गया है। इस तरह से अगर पूरा हम देखें तो 45% कार्य जो है पूरा हो गया है, कार्य प्रगति पर है। महोदय, यहाँ जब एनसीपी राज्यों संघ राज्य क्षेत्रों में तटीय पुलिस, कस्टम, सीआईएसएफ और बीएसएफ के कर्मियों को प्रशिक्षण के लिए पोर्ट ब्लेयर में भी 10 सप्ताह का मरीन पुलिस फाउंडेशन कोर्स हम चूंकि वो उस संबंध में पूछिए, इस प्रकार से हम कोची में भी कई जगह के इस प्रकार की हमने व्यवस्था की है, लेकिन महोदय उसमें हम प्रशिक्षण का कार्य देते हैं और कई तटीय सुरक्षा से संबंधित जितने भी स्टेक होल्डर हैं और जितने भी फोर्स हैं उसके प्रशिक्षण की
माननीय सदस्य मोबा मित्रा जी
और निर्माण कार्य
माननीय सदस्य मोबा मित्रा जी
के साथ चल रहा है, जो पूरा की जाएगी।
सीनियर मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट भी गौरव गोगोई जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति अध्यक्ष महोदय। ये सवाल बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। जैसे कि आदरणीय मंत्री महोदय ने कहा कि समुद्र के तट से जो नशीले पदार्थ आ रहे हैं उसमें जो अरेस्ट कर रहे हैं, और अगर केजी की तुलना में देखा जाए तो लगभग 400% की वृद्धि हुई है। जितना केजी के नशीले पदार्थ इन्होंने पकड़े हैं। तो ये नशीली पदार्थ जो आ रहे हैं हमारे देश के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा के लिए बहुत खतरा है, और इसलिए हम अपेक्षा करते थे कि सीनियर हमारे मंत्री होम मिनिस्टर यहाँ पे नहीं रहते। पर मेरा सवाल यही है कि इन्होंने ये जो अरेस्ट जो कर रहे हैं 400% का जो वृद्धि हुआ है केजी का, इसको आप दो नजरिए से देख सकते हैं।
आपका प्रश्न क्या है?
प्रश्न मेरा बस नजरिए से देख सकते हैं कि इतने अरेस्ट होने के बावजूद भी ये ड्रग ट्रेड में वृद्धि हो रही है। तो मैं इतना जानना चाहूंगा कि ये नशीली पदार्थों में जो लोग इन्होंने कितने लोगों को इन्होंने अरेस्ट किया, किन प्रोविजंस के तहत इन्होंने अरेस्ट किया, क्या उनको बेल मिल रही है, जमानत दिए है? मैं ये चीज उनसे जानना चाहता हूँ कितने लोगों को इन्होंने अरेस्ट किया।
नशा मुक्ति के खिलाफ संसद को, एक मिनट, नशा मुक्ति के खिलाफ सभी माननीय सदस्यों को अपने अपने क्षेत्र में एक बड़ा व्यापक और गंभीर अभियान चलाना चाहिए। ये सामाजिक आंदोलन से ही समाप्त होगा और इसको समाप्त करना ही चाहिए, ये हमारा संकल्प होना चाहिए।
महोदय, सबसे पहले तो हम माननीय सदस्य को यह कहना चाहेंगे कि हम 400 गुना 500 गुना अगर जब्ती में बढ़ोतरी हुई है, इसका मतलब यह है कि जो मादक पदार्थों को भारत के सीमा के अंतर्गत लाकर भारत के भविष्य को समाप्त करने की जो साजिश हो रही थी, उस पर तत्परता से काम किया गया है। पहले जब्ती कम इसलिए होती थी कि कोई ऐसा तंत्र डेवलप नहीं था कि हम जब्ती कर सके या तस्करों को हम गिरफ्तार करके हम कानून के तहत जेल में डाल सके। हम माननीय सदस्य को बता देंगे उस आंकड़ों को भी कि कितना जब्ती हुआ उसको। जो लगभग 400 से भी ज्यादा प्रतिशत अधिक जब्ती हुई है। प्रतिबंधित सामान जो 7000 केजी जब्त किए गए थे, वह प्रतिबंधित सामान 2014 से 2024 के बीच में 4,15,264 यानी 500 गुना से भी ज्यादा उसमें वृद्धि हुई है। अवैध मानव प्रवासी, जो पहले आंकड़ा उसका नहीं है लेकिन जो जानकारियां हुई है कि न के बराबर था, वह अवैध मानव प्रवासी 319 पकड़े गए हैं। विदेशी मछुआरे।
And thus, so many discussions were happened. Primarily, so many parties from the opposition has sincerely opposed this particular bill, referring it as unconstitutional and destroying the fundamental right of the Indian citizens. Whereas the ruling BJP said that this particular bill will be very much beneficial in the long run for the Indian economy, and country like India will be boosting in terms of economy if the one nation one election comes into the picture, because having the election is a very tedious process both from the government and also from the political parties side. It is a very expensive thing which the government has to fetch so much amount in conducting the elections. So opposition party is saying the same thing again and again, whereas the opposition parties are saying that this is not practical, especially when the assemblies do not have the correct figures, or even the Lok Sabha at times can even get dissolved. In a country like India, dissolution of the Lok Sabha is not a new thing. Many times under the Prime Ministership of Indira Gandhi and also the United Front government under the Prime Ministership of Deve Gowda and Aiko Gujral were also dissolved, and at that particular time elections happened very soon, once in 2 years. If that particular scenario comes again, then what would be the issue? Why should all the state government also should be going for the election again? Or why should there be an election for the complete country only for the next 2 years or 3 years when it is already dissolved by the public or the opposition by the no confidence motion itself. So what the opposition is saying is, when no confidence motion bills pass, then the citizens of the country will be having a right to elect the complete secure government for the next 5 years, not for 1 or 2 years. So this is primary reason why the opposition party is completely opposing the bill. MIM party chief Asaduddin Owaisi has also quoted the same thing, whereas Trinamool chief Mamata Banerjee said that this is completely like killing the constitution. Congress has issued the whip. Supriya Sule, the NCP Supremo's daughter of Sharad Pawar faction, has also said that this is completely impractical. Whereas the allies of the NDA or the allies of the BJP, the ruling party in Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu's TDP, has completely supported the bill, and also Eknath Shinde's faction of the Shiv Sena has also completely supported the bill, saying that this will rather improve the ties between the central and the state government, because at the same time when elections happen, then the leaders or the parties would be coming into the power will be known very much easily, and the 5-year framework can be developed with a better clarity, and this would rather improve the federal system. This is what the ruling NDA parties are saying. But the voting has taken place, the e-voting has taken place. 220 votes are polled in favor of this particular bill, but this particular bill needs 2/3 majority of the House. So out of 575, 369 votes are to be polled, but unfortunately the number of people who has voted in this particular bill itself is 369. So what would be the next scenario? Will this particular bill be referred to the Joint Parliamentary Committee, and under what circumstances this particular bill will be passed? What would be the scenario if this bill will be sent to the Rajya Sabha? We have to wait and watch, because as the bill is clear, the voting has happened in the Lok Sabha. Next it will be sent to Rajya Sabha, and in Rajya Sabha, if this particular bill wins by the 2/3 majority, then the further implementation process would be started. However, what would be the Joint Parliamentary Committee would be saying about this particular bill, we have to see. And this particular Joint Parliamentary Commission will be there for next 90 days, but as per the sources, it can extend even to a much greater time. In the Joint Parliamentary Committee, of course, the BJP, because it has having the more numbers, will be having more members, and the allies will be the key factors, and the opposition parties also will be having sufficient numbers, because no party has got a complete majority figures. The Joint Parliamentary Party, of course it will be the BJP majority, but every party will be having a decent numbers. So what would be the Joint Parliamentary Commission will be saying about this particular election, and what would be the vote of Rajya Sabha? We have to wait and watch.
दे दिया है कि कब कब ये हुआ है, आप चाहे तो दोबारा उसको निकाल सकते हैं, इसलिए एक दल से एक व्यक्ति बोले, सब्जेक्ट पे अपनी बात को कह दें। आप दादा इतनी आपको पार्टी ने चुप, एक मिनट रहिए ना। हाँ, एक मिनट चंद्रशेखर जी, आप अपनी बात कहते। हाँ,
Honorable Speaker, sir. I rise today on behalf of the Telugu Desam Party to express our unwavering support for the NDA's One Nation and One Election bill. Sir, our party's guiding force, Sri Nara Chandrababu Naidu ji, has always championed transformative ideas and is well recognized and respected as a visionary leader, sir. TDP is deeply committed to nation-building initiatives such as Vikasit Bharat 2047 and aims to align them with Vikasit Andhra 2047, reflecting the true spirit of cooperative federalism and a shared vision for progress and development. Sir, there are several advantages of One Nation, One Election bill, but I would like to quote 4. Number 1, Number one, reduced expenditure and logistical efficiency, sir. Although the official figures for the 2019 Lok Sabha elections vary, news reports estimate the Election Commission of India has spent more than 6,000 crores, sir. In 2024,
So we'll be updating you about